Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Studio Live today and a live song recording, demo recording video here. My name is Pete, if you have not been here before, and this is Studio Live today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music. Now, what we're doing here today, something a little bit different and free-flowing. I, last week, wrote a song, and I did it live here on the channel. I'll put a link down in the description to that song writing process so that you can check it out if you didn't see it. If you did see it, you'll know that we've got a song at the moment. It's just called Fast because that's the one line of lyrics we actually got to. But we wrote some guitar, we've got the chord progression together, we've got some ideas for some bass. And through the week, I've been playing around with it just a little bit. And what we're going to do in this video is actually jump in and start recording. So I have recorded some very scratch tracks, but I thought it might be fun and interesting to show you a little bit of the process I go through here to record a demo. And I've just finished an interview with Douglas from Oviette on the Creator Series, and we were talking about this exact thing, which is that when you're recording a demo, do your best to get a decent recording. It doesn't have to be a great recording, but it needs to be a decent recording because you'll be surprised at how often you will actually use that demo recording in the final end product. So I will be doing that. Hello to the folks who are here live. I've got a lot going on here on my screen, so I'll jump over and say a quick hello here in the chat if I can find you. There you are. Hello, Metallion58. Good to have you here in freezing Montreal. Yes, I can imagine. And it's hot here, by the way. I've got the air conditioner off, but I may have to turn it on at some stages here. We've got Imagine6 in Texas. Hello to you. Alex Backus. Hello to you. Benedict Stewart. Hello to you. I will jump back over and say good day to the folks who are here live. If you're watching on the replay, don't worry. I love you just as much. I've lost my guitar. My guitar's over there, and I realized I don't have a guitar cable either, so I am going to have to do that super professional thing of like going during a live stream, rummaging around and finding things. That's just there and just there, but I'll do that in a moment. But let's jump over and take a look at where we got to and where this song is at, because I know that's what you're here to see. Yes, that has worked. Excellent. I just need to do a quick adjustment, put this over to the side a little bit. So I'm using Reflector 3. I always get questions about this. I use Reflector 3 to AirPlay my iPad over onto my PC, which means the frame rate's usually pretty terrible. So like you can see, I'm moving my mouse around on the iPad and we're getting about 3 frames per second, but you'll be able to get the gist of where I'm going and what I'm doing. So here's where we're at with this song. We have drums, which I've just added in a basic drum track. Let's show you these just one by one. So actually, we'll come back to this. So this will be familiar if you were here last week. This is my guitar track that I have so far, and this is the scratch guitar in here that's just replaced the very scratch, and today we'll be replacing it with a less scratch. So it sounds like this at the moment. We'll turn the volume up. So that's the chord progression that we wrote last week, and we've got verse, chorus, a bit of a bridge that I'm working on at the moment, and then an ending there as well. I've then actually recorded in some bass guitar, and I have my bass here, so I'll re-record this and sort of show you how we record some bass, and that coming in sounds like this. Oh, that's me practicing the bass, because it doesn't actually come in till here. Let's just do a quick adjustment so I don't get confused in future. So there's our bass, it comes in with our guitar. And then last week, I started playing around with a little bit of a lead part, which is down here on this guitar. So that's doing, I'll just turn it down, that's going to do something like this. You can hear that I got a very bad recording when I was actually playing around with this because if we play that by itself, the guitar, it was not plugged in right. It was over. This is the problem. If you don't take your time, it was the input gain was up too loud. Take a listen. Out of tune guitar, input gain too loud. That's another thing we'll need to fix here today. And then I've got my scratch vocals, which are down here, and these are doing my do-do-do da-da-da. So let's come to Why don't we come to the chorus? Because this is a bit that I'm still not sure on, but let's just play it. So you can hear that it's come together from the shell of the idea that we had last week. It is starting to actually come together and sound like something that we would actually want to produce and want to mix and master and release. So we're getting there. The next steps that we have here, what I like to do, my process, is to get down a decent end-to-end demo. So that's what we're doing here today. Then I can build out the lyrics by playing along with my acoustic guitar and working out what the lyrics are going to be, record some scratch vocals, and then we'll have a full demo. So sometimes, and some people will get the vocals written first, then record their demo. I want to make sure I've got the song structure as it needs to be before we get to that stage. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mute out everything except for this drum track. Now, I've just used the drummer. So this is Darcy on the drums, and I've got a very basic beat here. And I've dialed it in to just be the heart-to-heart beat all the way through. Nice and loud, nice and simple, but it's just creating that rhythm, that and we talked about last week that when I'm recording, I like to record to a drum. I don't like recording to just the metronome, to just the click track. I don't think it sounds good. And yeah, I can't get into the pocket, especially when you're playing guitar. It's hard to get into the pocket when you're recording that way. So let's get stuck in. Now that we have that there, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to our track view like so. I'm going to duplicate out this acoustic guitar track, bring it on up. Click and drag, bring it on up and put it under here, because all I'm going to do to start with is record the guitar. I'm going to record through a full take of the guitar, and to do that, I am going to have to be super unprofessional and jump over to the side and grab some stuff. So I'm going to put it to desktop only, and I'll talk to you from the other side of the room, because I have to take my headphones off and grab my guitar, and then I have to walk over here and grab a guitar cable, and then I have to come back over and get closer to the microphone so that you can hear me again, and I have everything that I need. I know you could have watched me do that, but yeah, you don't want to see me in my shorts wandering around the studio. So I did that for you. All right, putting the headphones back on, coming back. Here I am. I'm back, but I do have a couple of important items. I have my guitar and I have my guitar cable, so we'll pop that down there. Now, the setup I have here is I'm recording through my Steinberg UR22C. Let's see if I can bring it up here without disconnecting things to show you. Here it is. This is what we've got. So Steinberg UR22C has two inputs here. So it's got two inputs that we can use for either instrument or for microphone. I'm going to plug in an instrument cable, and I'm actually going to record using the pickup on my guitar here. When I do the final one, I'll probably mic the guitar because that is a better sound. But for convenience sake here, we are going to use instrument cable for everything. So I generally plug into input 2 my instruments, just because I've just got in this habit of 2 is always my instruments, 1's always my microphone. You can do whatever you like with that. But this is plugged in via a powered USB hub, which I can't show because it's sort of hidden away over there. And this means I can plug in my interface, my keyboard and mouse, and any other USB devices I want, my MIDI keyboard if I want to, at the same time. They all connect into GarageBand, and then I'm monitoring out of my iPad. Out of the iPad, you can see it's monitoring out of the headphone jack here. That's what's going into my mixer. That's what's going into my headphones. That's what you're hearing. So this is going to be a wee bit experimental, and I've got a lot of cables going on here. So I'm going to put the interface carefully back down there so that we can get set up. I'm going to grab my cable here, and I'm going to put it into my guitar. Oh, it's wrapped around my headphone cable. This is great. You're like, thanks, Pete. We wanted to come and watch Cable Organisation Hour with Pete Johns on Studio Live today. It's a thrill. We'll plug that into there. We'll grab a guitar pick and... So, I can see on my... you can't see, but I can see on my interface that as I'm strumming, it was going over the peak. Little peak light was coming on, so just make sure that you're Input gain is okay on your hardware side if you're using an interface like this to start with. And then what we're going to do, let's jump back over here to the iPad. And what we're going to do is we've got our guitar track here, but we need to set it up to make sure it's using the right input. So we're going to hit the mixer icon. Oh, no. We're going to hit the microphone icon up here. Tap on that one. It's going to bring up our microphone interface here. Down the bottom left here, it says channel 1 at the moment. And so if I had a microphone plugged in, it would be recording. But what we want is we want it to be input 2. Now, stereo, by the way, if you're ever inputting a stereo signal, so 2, say like a keyboard that had stereo outs, you would use the stereo. But there's not too many scenarios where you'd actually want to use stereo. You generally want to set it to input 1 or input 2 only. So I want input 2 now, and if we are... you can see my guitar is coming through on that input. We can't hear it yet because I haven't turned monitoring on. Down here in the bottom right, we tap on monitoring and now we can hear that coming through. Now you can hear it when I record. I'll turn my mic off so you won't hear me breathing and you'll only hear it coming through here. Now what we probably need to do is we need a little bit more volume. So this is where I now can adjust the input gain back up a bit. So I'll just turn it like 1 notch. And now my red light's coming on there, and on the input meter there, the red light's coming on again. So we dial it back down a bit. Still got a little bit of red light. We're going to come down. So you want a healthy signal, but you don't want it to be in the red at all. You don't want to be clipping your signal because that creates distortion, and distortion equals bad. Especially digital distortion. It's not like the old days where you just overdrive a nice tube amplifier and get that nice warm distortion. Digital distortion, or often called clipping, is terrible and it sounds terrible. The weird thing is though, I've heard a lot of pop music and like sort of R&B type music where they're using digital distortion in the drop. And they're doing it on purpose, so they'll be like, and yeah, there's part of me that says, you can't do that. And there's other part of me that says, whatever that you want to do that works for you, do it. I don't like definitive statements. I don't like do, don't. I don't like yes, no. I like do what works for you. However, I don't think I can ever get behind deliberate use of digital distortion. I think it sounds pretty ordinary. Alrighty, now I'm going to need to bring up a few different things at once here because I need to grab my song and bring it across here and re-familiarize myself with the actual song that we wrote. New song, is this the one? Yes, it is. So we'll bring new song over here. Oh, it's going to sit behind. You're not going to be able to see that, are you? No, you're not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to bring this up over here so I can play along. It's basically just telling me that my intro riff is this. Right, cool. So what I will do actually, I play better when I'm singing along, and because I'm plugging directly in, it's actually going to be easier for me because I'm not going to have the problem of, sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. I'll leave my mic up a little bit just so that I can sort of sing along. You can hear the melody and it'll help me play as well because I'll be able to sort of hum the melody and do-do-da-da the melody along with myself as I go. So I will get on and do this. And then if you are here watching live, I will jump back after I've recorded this take and see if anyone has any feedback, opinions, or anything in between. So let us hit the record button up the top here. It'll play in. I'll turn my mic down after I've hit record. And when we get to this after 4 bars, that's where the guitar will start kicking in. Here we go. Turn my mic down a bit. Turn off that metronome. Play. Alrighty then. That'll be enough of the drums, whatever your name was. Who's my drummer today? Who's on the skins? Darcy. There was a few small problems with that. I didn't have enough room here with the desk. I'm not in the right position. I need to get back a bit. So I couldn't play my bar chords properly. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. The bass guitar fell on me halfway through the take. Apart from that, it went swimmingly. But yeah, hopefully you sort of got the idea and how I do this sort of thing. And playing along to that drum beat, even though it's not got all the nuances, no fills or anything like that in there in particular, it is actually really cool. It's much, much better. If you've ever been playing guitar or singing along, recording in GarageBand, anything, get a drummer track. Like, doesn't even matter if you're going to replace the drums later, which I probably will. Use a drummer track. It works so much better than using the metronome. All right, let's shimmy on across here and see who we've got here and if anyone's got anything to say. Oh, hello, Sunray. Good to see you, my friend. Super chat. Appreciate that. It is Sunray here in Adelaide. It's a beautiful day in Adelaide here. Who else we got here? We've got Chelsea. Welcome back, Chelsea. You were here last week watching the first in the series. We've got Lach Vegas. Lach Vegas from Germany. Hello to you again. Good to have you here. Enrico Morello. It's 10 p.m. in Italy. Yeah, dialing in from Italy. Who else do we have? Enrico, isn't the bass's gain too low? I mean, the thickness of the wave. So yeah, the thing with bass is that you don't... Yes, it is. I record in bass. The problem with bass is it's a constant game of trying to get a signal that's coming in with enough strength, but it will overload. Like the bass, if you hit a bass note, it'll overload your preamp, well, not your preamp, your input on your device. I'll actually be recording bass next. So I'll be putting a scratch bass down and showing you how we do that. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll dial that one in a minute. It is a Saturday morning here in Adelaide. Gussie Wells, hello, dropping in to say hello. Good to have you here. Chelsea wants to show me. Trust me, you don't want to see me in my shorts. If you're just joining us, I had to make a dash over to get my cable and my guitar, and I turned off the camera because you don't need to see that. Let's see. Sunray says signal is there, green to yellow, never red, never clip. Yeah. Keep your signals down. Gussie says I use GarageBand with my tube amps and analog guitar effects. GarageBand is so versatile. Totally is. So yeah, you can use what I'm doing here. You can use just the built-in stuff. I'm just using the standard nice room sound. So if we just take a quick listen back to this while I'm chatting, so we can hear that. Like, I mean, that's a decent sound, yeah. For plugging it, people are like, oh my God, you record on your iPad, it must sound terrible. I'm like, no, I plug in like my standard USB audio interface. I dial in some settings, put a little reverb, little delay on there. Sounds cool. Like out of the box, it sounds cool. You don't need to do much more than that. Imagine 6 is here. Hello to you. Signal could be a tad stronger. Yeah, on that guitar, I'm not. If it went too strong, I reckon I'd be clipping on my interface. But we'll play around with it. Imagine 6. This song could use a tambourine or a shaker. Yes, can't it? Like, I reckon like that sort of shaker. I reckon tambourine or shaker is going to have to be in its future. Good tip. Love it. Decord, hello to you. Good to have you. I don't think I've seen your name around here before. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you here. Metallion. Yeah, I'll just see if there's anyone else that's got any particular things. Yes, this is just a reference track, so there's folks talking about the levels and things. Gussie says, yeah, got to remember that excuse. Absolutely. You got to blame your gear, don't you? You can't. It's never your fault. It's never my fault that I didn't record it or play it properly. Yeah, no, it's me. It's all me. But that's okay, because we got digital stuff here. We can keep going and we can just fix it. Who have we got here? Darren Bryant, hello to you. Gussie says, sounds good. And Sunray, yes, it's Saturday, not Sunday. It is Saturday morning here. Binny Sandhu, hello to you. Alrighty, so if we just we did have a quick listen to that, but if we come back here and we'll just come into further along down here. Here's the chorus. That horrible bar chord. But already it's starting to take shape, yeah? It's pretty good, pretty nice to be able to get to this point. Now, I'm going to, all these scratch tracks from down here, these are never going to see the light of day again. So I'm just going to get rid of them because I don't like having a lot of clutter around in my tracks. Thank you, original scratch tracks. You will be gone. You've served me well, but you're gone forever now. I'm going to leave these ones here as a reference. Actually, this one can go too because I've replaced that now. And these I'll leave for reference. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to record some bass. Now, I'm going to not make the mistake I usually make. I'm going to turn down the volume before I unplug, because what I usually do is go and then say, oh, don't ever do what I just did there when you're changing things out, when you're swapping instruments or doing whatever. I'm going to grab my bass. Now, this bass is my only bass, which is why it's the bass I'll be using. It's a brand, an Australian brand called Ashton. And if you, I don't think they sell these anywhere but Australia. I bought this at Cash Converters. Yes, my Australian friends will know cashies. Oh, see, now I'm hitting my other guitars. May need to go on another reconnaissance mission to go and save my guitars, but that's all right. We should be okay here. Grab the tuner so I can tune up our bass. So I got this at Cash Converters for like $100, like many moons ago. It needs new strings, but it's actually a decent kind of sound. It's got its built-in tuner, actually, so I didn't even really need the tuner. It gets a decent sound for what I need it for just playing some pretty simple bass riffs and grooves in my songs. So I'm just making sure that everything is still set up and able to be seen. It is. It's working okay. Touch wood. So we will add a new track. We'll hit the add track button there. We will come in here and let's use a bass amp sim. So we'll tap on the bass amp, and out of the box, here's what it looks like, except now that we're using a guitar to set the input on our guitar, which is, here's the first thing. We haven't plugged the bass in. So we grab our guitar cable, we plug in the bass. Boom. We are plugged in. Now we can do the bit that I was going to say that you could do, which is over here now. So it's not down here. It's just to be super confusing. Up in the top right, there's a little jack icon. And here's where we can actually control this. We're going to go in, channel 2. And why is nothing happening? Why is it not working? Is my bass turned up? Yes. Oh, it is coming through. It's just coming. Oh, it's coming through. But Pete, remember when you turned down the volume of the output so that it wasn't blowing people's ears off? Yeah, that. Plus, you know what we don't have on? Monitoring. See, I'm deliberately showing you everything not to do. So let's turn on monitoring. There we go. That's where it's at now. There we go. There's our channels. We'll turn those back up, and then we can. We are good to go with some bass guitar sounds here in our track. Now, what sort of bass sound do I want on this? We'll get it something. It's going to be a pretty simple one. It's definitely not going to be distorted. So we're probably talking just one of our clean ones. We'll try the high definition I quite like here, of part of the bass amp boutique here in GarageBand. I think that's going to be a nice clean sort of bass sound. All right, let us make sure that we are getting a decent signal through without clipping. All right, no clips there. We'll keep turning up until we're just under the clip. Still not clipping. Yep, that's the clip point, and we're getting a bit of noise. Can you hear that we're getting that? Well, the noise gate kicks in, but we're getting a bit of noise in the signal there. In fact, let's turn off the noise gate just so that we can hear this a little bit better. Plugins and EQ, noise gate off. So you can hear that background hiss. It's okay. All amps actually have that hiss sound, but we want to make sure we're getting a decent signal and level through there, which I think we are now. If we come back here. All right, that's looking good. Let's bring this sucker up. Tap and hold and bring it on up. Now, let me just remind myself of the bass riff that I actually play here. I'll just play along for a moment with the previous one. So. just improvise over the top of that. Cool. I think we're going to be good here. We'll silence that. We'll solo the tracks that we want. Let's see how we go laying down. So I do use a pick on my bass, by the way. Sorry for the bass aficionados. I'm too bad of a bass player to use my thumbs and to do anything fancier than that. So yeah, if you want to teach me how to play bass, that's cool. Now we can unmonitor those tracks. So these orange lights are our monitor lights. So we've just got the monitoring on the bass, and we'll be hearing all the other tracks. Just make sure that we get those through at the right level. Yep, I think that's going to be cool if we just play. That'll work. And then what I do, I actually turn the output gain of whatever instrument I'm tracking. Make sure that you're turning the output gain up, not the input gain, because this doesn't control the actual sound at all. This has nothing to do with the sound that's being recorded. This is just what's being played back in my headphones in my monitor mix. So I can turn it up and play along, because it just means that I'll be able to hear the bass a lot better as we play. Let us stop the messing around. My mic's a bit hot there. I will turn the mic off this time, and I will just play along, and you'll hear the bass guitar as we record this track. Alrighty then. Okay, so how do bass players do it? My goodness, my fingers, my hands, like painful at the end of playing a bass part. Yeah, when I'm tracking my final bass, like I have to take breaks like after every take because, yeah, my hands are built for guitars, not for bass, I think. So that ended up sounding okay. Now, what you'll notice there, and what I do when I'm recording a demo, I'll be able to come back in and chop this up and work out what works in different parts. So what you probably heard is that I was trying something different on the bass in each different section, so that the main bass riff is sort of like that sort of groove. And then in other parts, I was like not playing it that badly, although I probably was. But yeah, I think the demo is the time to try things, because what you'll find is when you're playing guitars and you're playing bass, you'll get that little lick that you didn't really think about that works. And you might not be the right thing in the right spot, but I tend to find that my parts evolve over time. So when I'm doing the demo, that's the time I experiment. Other people might argue that the demo is where you should get everything flat and not experiment, and then experiment when you're recording. I'm the other way around. I like the part to evolve, and that's like when I first, like the bass could just go da 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 da. It could be very boring bass, and it probably will be. Like in some parts, it'll just do this, but then the variation, and that's what can build out like your first verse versus your second verse. Something as simple as just changing your bass riff slightly between verses or between choruses can give you that variation that'll make your listener have a lot more interest. All right, I'm going to turn down and unplug the bass for now and place it carefully, not on the floor. This is where Jade Star jumps in and says, Pete, for goodness sake, use your guitar stands. Seriously. I know I should. They're in the shed. They're dusty. All right. What we're going to do, I'm going to plug in the electric guitar in a moment, and then we'll have a bit of a look at that. But we'll see if there's any other folks here. Hello, DGFLO, now in Finland. Hello to you in Finland. Andy Reynolds, sounding great, Pete. Nice sounding bass, very full and warm, very enjoyable to listen to. Cheers. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Which distributor is better? Onapum or Amuse? I'm not familiar with Onapum, so I would say Amuse. I say DistroKid though. I think they have the best ones. Metallian 58. I like the sound. Yeah, cool. I think it's a nice tone that we've got in there. Gussie Wells says the enlarged cursor works well. Yeah, I hope you. What do you think? Is the red okay? I like red things because I just always choose red because it goes faster. But maybe I should change to a white cursor to stand out a little bit more in my tutorials. I think it works well. Slightly enlarged. You can follow it around. There's nothing else much that's red on the screen, which is kind of why I chose it. Like everything else is yellow, blues, greens, blacks. I think the red, you follow the red dot, just kind of works well. Anyway, that's my opinion. Your opinion may vary. Cool. So I think we're good. Jade says, guitar stands in the shed. Yes, just get a rack. Yeah, maybe I need a rack. Maybe I need to get, like a 7 guitar rack. Here's the thing, because this is a home studio, I have a rack, and you know what it is? It's a clothes rack. Exactly where a guitar rack could go right there is a clothes rack, because this also happens to be the room where we fold and put away clothes. I know, right? Rock and roll, yeah. But you know what? When you're in a home studio environment, things have to serve multiple purposes. So that's my point. And what's blah, 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 blah. Let's grab my guitar, shall we? Speaking of dusty guitars, I have pulled out and dusted off my Epiphone Les Paul copy, which is very cool. It's the guitar, my first real big person guitar. There it is. Oh, come on, I got to bring it in the full screen so you can see. Oh, shiny. Yeah, so yes, not the genuine Gibson, but the Epiphone Les Paul has Gibson written there, just to remind you that it is like a Gibson. But yeah, I really like this guitar. I bought it when I was like 17 for about $600, $700, and at that time in the 90s, was it the 90s? Yeah, that was a lot, and that was definitely a lot for me to spend on a guitar. Oh, I've lost my tuner. It's down here on the bass that I put on the floor. So yeah, it was definitely a big purchase for me. I'm loving the Steinberg UR22C, by the way. Such a good quality interface. They don't pay me to say that, although I do have affiliate links for gear at studiolivetoday.com/gear. All right, let's get this guitar plugged in now. As you heard, we'll come back so you can see the screen. As you heard at the start, if you've been hanging around, or if you watch the replay, you can check it out. I brought in the second verse here, I brought in this guitar idea here, and actually it uses a capo. So we're going to have to put the capo, I think it's on the 3rd fret. No, it's on the 5th fret actually, because it's playing a... Yeah, sound like that. We're not monitoring yet, are we? I might want to turn my volume back up. Now we're monitoring, but we're actually on the bass. So what we're going to do, let's hit plus. Let's add us in a, this time, guitar amp. Actually, should we try something a bit fun? I did a video during the week about a cool new plugin, and I'm going to actually try this. Oh, get away from me, that Windows thing popping out the side. So I'm going to use this Crunk V2 amp plugin and see if we can get a decent tone with this. We can always switch it back to an amp later if we want to. So to use this, I'm actually going to come in here to Fun and to Clean and set myself up a new track. This time the input's over here on the left, up the top. Yeah, everything's a bit different. Input number 2. So we're back, you can see there. We need to hit the monitor button in the bottom right. And then we're having a very out of tune. Let's just tune this sucker up. And then we'll add on the Crunk V2. By the way, if you're tuning your guitar with a capo on, always tune it, don't tune it at standard tuning, then add the capo and expect it to be in tune, because the intonation on your guitar is going to always make it slightly different. So because my bottom string is now an A, I need to make sure I've tuned it to an A so that when I'm... All right, I think that's the riff I'm going with. Let's add some crunk. Put some crunk on it. Excuse me a moment. Oh, let's do this thing. So what we can do, we can come up here to the mixer icon, go to plugins and EQ, hit the edit button, hit the plus button, hit the audio unit extensions, and now we can actually add this Nembrini audio. Shout out to, is it Igor Nembrini? Making some really cool plugins. I'm doing the chorus plugin video. Well, here's the thing. I did the chorus plugin video. My iPad screen recorder failed. So I need to redo it because, yeah, you're not going to be fun if you can't actually see what I'm doing on the screen. It's just a video of my head. Oh, you can already hear. Wow. That's probably not the tone we're looking for. Let's just turn this down so we don't blow your head off. So we probably want to go to the factory preset clean tone, but I don't mind that at all. And yeah, then we can play around with any of the settings that we have here. I'm going to leave it kind of trebly like that. I don't like all that much treble. We're just going to ease this on down. That's a pretty rockin' tone. It might be a bit too rockin' for this track, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So if I just play this, we'll come back to our track view like that. So the part where I want it to come in is in this second verse. So what I'll do is I'll just do a quick practice run here with it playing along and see how we can throw this guitar in. So we come into the second verse and then we do it. Yeah, I'm digging that tone, but it's just slightly too overdriven for what I want here. What if we go with the clean A? That's probably going to be a bit... That's a bit better, isn't it? And if we actually turn the gain down and the output up a bit, yeah, we're going to get a nicer, cleaner tone. We probably don't need an overdriven gain on there. All right, let's just play along again and see how this goes. it's not. I'm playing the D equivalent there, so it's. Okay, I've got to go up to A. All right, I might even try and. I'm going to use like a B7 equivalent there. All right, anyway, let's come back here and let's just hit record and see what happens, shall we? So we will cue it up and get a little bit more room here. We'll hit record. And here we come in. Because I'm up here on the neck, yeah, again, I'm blaming my tools. All right, let's try that again. We'll hit undo, we'll hit record, have a practice. All right, here we go. And what I think it's going to do there is actually go into a... like do some sort of lead bit here. So let's just try that. Into our bridge. Do we do some like little tittles over this as it's like going up? Like around about here, just like. Something like that, no? So what I think, as we stop it there, again, we're noodling here because this is the sort of thing we want to work out. So this part here, I do like that, but then when we came in here to the bridge, I didn't like any of this stuff. So here's what I do when I don't like any of that stuff. I just go and bring it all the way back there because I liked what we had up to there. And then I reckon I want to do something like this in the bridge, but not at the very start. So if we start the bridge, so it starts like this, it does its basing acoustic thing, and then maybe in here, just like a... And then as we build it up, and then like an extended version of what we had in that first bit, I think is what comes back in here. So again, if we cue this up, like maybe we even do chords here, like we... Or maybe not. No, I think we need the broken up ones again. But we maybe do a variation on that. So no. needs some workshop. So we need to work out what that lead guitar part does, if it does anything in that final bit. Or maybe it just goes, maybe we lose the capo and it plays. Now it's sounding like that song Glycerine by Bush. Must be a thing that I'm screaming in. That's all I can play of that. Otherwise, copyright strike. Let's just try this. If I just bring it like... All right, let's just do power chords here, just so we got something behind this. As I had my pick around the wrong way. By the way, if you're wondering, can I get more lead in time to punch in here? I can. All I need to do is actually go back another bar or two and play it from there, and then I'll show you what I can do afterwards. So if I wanted to get myself set... And what you'll probably notice there is that I didn't set my gain at the start very well. I'm actually clipping on this guitar. Look over on the left when I'm playing these ones. And you can hear just the faintest amount of distortion at the top there, which is not sounding fabulous. But I'm going to unplug the guitar and... Yeah, I'm going to get reported to the International Society of Abuse Against Guitars for the way I treat my guitars around here. I need to improve on that. I know it. Alrighty. Now I was going to show you what we can do here. If we come back to our track view and we zoom on in like so, here's the cool thing: non-destructive audio, non-destructive editing. What does that mean? Well, it means that we can do something like this. We can grab this one here and we can dial it on across, and chop all that bit out, and then grab this one here and dial it on across. And see, we can decide where the gap is. And that means that we can just bring these two takes together and make them sound cool like this. And you can hear that they're just a little bit over crunchified that we have there, but it's all good. It's all okay on the day. Now, what I was maybe going to do today but won't is to actually add in a new vocal take. Because I haven't written the vocals yet, it's probably not worth me doing. But what I'll do is I'll bring my my little dee-dee-dee-da-da-da scratch vocal back in here, just so that we can take a listen. I won't play the whole thing, but we'll play maybe the second verse where this guitar comes in and see what this is sounding like. I think we just need to trim off. So, coming from the, so we'll just play it, hang on. So there's the first chorus and then into the second verse. So yeah, so the guitar needs to come down a little bit there, as in the acoustic, the lead guitar part. And there's some other things, obviously, I need to do on this. But I like this process. It works for me. I hope you get some tips and some ideas about some things that may work for you. It's not, you're not going to do things exactly the way I do, but the reason I do these and the reason I love watching other people do similar processes is it helps me learn and it helps me know what I can do differently in future songs as well. We are going to finish up shortly because we are nearly out of time and I'm going to turn into a pumpkin. Yes, I am. So we've got 5 minutes left. We'll say a quick hello again to the folks that have been kind enough to have been here live throughout this session, and hopefully, like I say, you got some value. If you did enjoy yourself, if you got some fun, or you just like laughing at my do-do-dos, da-da-das, then yeah, hit the like button. That just tells me I should do more things like this. Oh, jeeps. I've got my screens going everywhere here. I'm just trying to find the chat. There you all are. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Jade says, I've never heard of tuning with the capo on before. Never had the intonation go to tuning normal, then adding the capo. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who I got it from, but I have had problems. Maybe it's just my dodgy guitars, but I've had problems before where I haven't been in tune. Metallion says, maybe some harmonics. Yeah, maybe like a doom, 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 doom. Yeah, some harmonics on there would actually sound really sweet, wouldn't they? I like that idea. Good call. Good call. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Talking more guitar racks, yes. So yeah, I definitely do that. Gavin Master, hi, am I late? Yeah, we're just finishing up, I'm afraid, my friend. Benedict Stewart says, song is, skipped all the way down there. Says, song is coming together, enjoying watching and learning from this, thank you. Gavin says, I have to come to the next stream or watch this again. Yeah, so if you did miss the start, feel free to jump back and catch up on the replay, because it's all of my live shows within about 20 minutes of the end. They get processed by YouTube, and then they get slapped back up as a replay. So you can jump in there, watch the whole thing, leave comments. If you've got comments or questions or anything afterwards, you can do that as well. Andy Reynolds here. Pete, you're doing exactly what I do all the time. I always get there in the end. Take 45, yeah. Nice guitar, nice tone. The guitar sounds fab. This Crunk V2 guitar is for free. It is better than it deserves to be. That's my opinion anyway. It just, yeah, it sounds really cool. So yeah, no, I think it is coming together. It takes a while. It takes some trial and error. It takes, yeah, a lot of just messing about. But this is the cool thing about music. That this didn't exist. Like before last week, this didn't exist at all. And then we put together some chord progressions, and we did that acoustic guitar bit. I put the bass down. We've got the lead guitar part down there now. I've got my vocal melody down. The one thing I was about to say is that part where I actually go into the chorus, the note at the start is just out of my range. So I'll play you the part so you know what I'm talking about here. It's this bit. I'm running as fast as I can. So I'm running as fast as yeah, it's just, I don't know. And so the alternative is I could just do, I'm running as fast as I can. And that might actually sound better in the final version. So I'm going to play with that through the week. Because if I want to be able to play this song live too, I don't want to be like messing around with notes that I can only hit sometimes. Anyway, so if you've got advice on that or your thoughts on that, let me know. How are we doing on time? Yes, we are completely out of time. Thank you for watching this and for bearing with me. This was a fun experiment for me because I've never really done this sort of full process where I've got my iPad here, I'm going through an interface, I'm recording through my mixer, and I'm streaming it all out live. Obviously, if I had a better way, if you've got any tips on this, the Lightning to HDMI connector, it doesn't support streaming on a PC because it's the privacy HDCP compliance thing that it has in there. And B, with this iPad, I can't then connect up other devices. So yeah, I'm looking for a way that's better than AirPlay, but I don't think there's a way. I guess I could have a second webcam pointing at the iPad as opposed to having it on the screen. Maybe it's something to experiment with in future videos. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you real soon. We've got a big weekend coming up here on the channel. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Home Studio Q&A if you're watching here live. And then on Sunday or Monday morning, we've got GarageBand Weekly. So heaps more. You can head over to studiolivetoday.com if you want to find all the ways you can get in touch with me, all of the links to my gear guide, to my Patreon page, to where to follow me on all the social media platforms. So thanks again for being here, folks. I hope you had an enjoyable time, got some value out of this one, and I'll see you next time. Take care.